The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you live and around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net and our worldwide family of broadcast affiliates. Now, if you'd like to send an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com is my email address. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And our main radio website, where you can listen to past editions of the X-Zone. You can find out what we're up to. And, of course, you can find out what we are going to be doing at www.xzoneradio.com. It's going to be a jam-packed week this week, X-Zone Nation. On tonight's show, SANDI ATHEY is going to be joining me in a few moments. And then Chris Black is going to be talking about the paranormal. And in hour number 3... Corey K. from the high-tech Corey K. Show, soon to air right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Also, we're very happy to announce tonight that Patty Conklin will be joining us here on the network with her show. And, of course, all this information is available at www.xzbn.net. As I said, my first guest tonight is SANDI ATHEY. She is an intuitive psychic, author, and radio personality who is blessed with the ability to tune into the universe. SANDI's psychic abilities developed after an attack that left her near death and severely injured. Through determination and the power of love, she danced with the universe and healed her body, mind, and spirit. SANDI uses her intuitive gifts and with her clients, both human and animal, X-Zone, and teaches us how to embrace each day with gratitude, joy, and love. Here's the very important website, www.sandiathey.net. And Sandy, welcome back to the X-Zone. Great having you with us, my dear friend.
Oh, good evening, Rob. It's so great to be here. Thanks for inviting me back. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. You do such a great job.
Oh, thank you very much, Sandy. And I must tell you that people like yourself and many of the other X-Zone guests that we have are making a positive difference in a world that is in turmoil. And if anyone can turn the world around, it's the people who realize that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And you, my dear, are helping very many people each and every day to turn their lives around, and by doing such, turning the world around.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And it's something that is so near and dear to me, Rob. It really, truly is. Because I figure if I can do it, anybody can do it. Seriously. There was a lot of turmoil and chaos throughout my life. And once I made a different choice, everything changed. And realizing that we have choice is very powerful. You know, it really is very, very powerful. And the way the world is now, it's very interesting times we're in, isn't it, Mr. Rob? Very interesting times. But, you know, you really can change things through your thoughts and through how you are in the world and what example that you're setting. And that contributes to the whole, because we are a collective consciousness. But one thing I always tell my clients is that the only thing that we really, truly can control our own thoughts, words, and actions. That's really it. There's nothing else that on this earth that we can control. So we might as well control that, right?
Exactly, and
if it's the only thing we can control.
Isn't that so true? But today, when I look at what's going on in the world, Sandy, we have the political infighting in the United States between the Democrats and the Republicans. You've got the terrorist attacks, not only in the United States, but in Germany, Bavaria. We have total civil unrest in so many centers of the world. Yeah, I stop and say, what in the name of heaven is going on? And Sandy, I hope after this commercial break, you would be kind enough to give us your take on the way the world is in a mess today and what each one of us can do to make a difference.
Thank you.
Exonation Sandy Athey is our special guest. www. You ready for this? www.sandyathey.net. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. We'll be back right after this break. Don't go away.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right. Transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Sandy Athey is our special guest tonight. www.sandyathey.net. And Sandy, what can each and every one of us do to try and turn the amount of negativity that is playing so hard on each and every one of us to turn the hate, to turn the negativity that is being generated at so many different levels?
Every level.
Yeah, every level. I can't remember seeing it this bad, Sandy.
Well, it really is a continuation of the 60s energy, Rob. It really is. A few years ago, I had quite a few visits from the other side, from different energies and different spirits from the 60s. It was Martin Luther King Jr., Jackie Onassis, JFK, and John Lennon actually is a wonderful spirit guide of mine. And they told me that at this point in time, it's a continuation of that same vibration. If you notice, there are a lot of things that are very similar that are happening now that happened in the 60s. We really never came to a conclusion. It never came full circle. Mm-hmm. So it's going to come back up again in order for us to clear it. The universe always gives us opportunities. And in our personal lives, we see this over and over with repeated patterns. You know, we go through something and it comes up again, it comes up again. You know what I mean, Rob?
Sure.
Right? It's a continuous pattern until we make a choice to take a different road or to do something different, and then that pattern stops because we're given the opportunity to heal it. And at this time in history, this has been foretold through everything from the Bible to Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce, Napoleon Hill. I mean, they all write about this, how our brains work and how energy moves, and how this time in history was foretold to be a time of choice. It's really all about choices. And we can make different choices, and when we do it on an individual level, we do contribute to the whole. And things are in chaos.
Yeah.
And that is a natural part of change. If you look at Earth Mother, because of course we are a reflection of the Earth and she is of us, a hurricane will go through to balance. It's all about balance. And it's a part of the natural cycle, whether it be snowstorms or hurricanes or earthquakes or fires. It's a way of bringing things back into balance. And it seems extremely traumatic and chaotic at the time, but then it does bring that new birth, and that cycle begins again. And I think that's where we are in history, is we're being presented with choices as a human race. We're being presented with this is what violence is, this is what war is, this is what hate is, this is what it is. What choices are you going to make right now? What different choices? You know, Winston Churchill said it many years ago, if we don't learn from history, we're forced to relive it. And that's really what's happening. It's just everything coming up at once.
But why are we
for us to make different choices?
But why are we so dense? You know, like
I don't know.
You know,
that's a good question.
If we've been doing this time and time again, and I agree with you, and I agree with Winston Churchill when he said that, because when you look throughout history, you know, the wheel's going round, but the hamster's dead. You know, it's just like, what's going on? How come?
Yeah.
You know,
well, I think it's human nature, really. We can be an extremely violent and mean species, especially to each other.
Yeah.
The things that we do to each other is just mind-boggling to me. I'm the one, you know, why can't we all just get along? But I did have to go through a lot of different things in my life to understand that I can make the difference myself. I can make the choices. I can do things and be places and say things and act in certain ways that attract a different vibe to me, that attract really nice things. And I'm living it. It's wonderful. But yes, that chaos was important. It was a turning point. It was a wake-up call for me. And I think we're in a wake-up call right now.
You know, you said earlier that this was a continuation of the 60s. And when I remember the 60s, you know, they were good days. And I was in high school. You know, we had Expo 67 happening in Montreal, where I'm originally from.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And you know, you had the coffee houses. You had, we had the hippies in Montreal, just like they had everywhere else. And it was make love, not war, peace, good vibrations. What happened? What are we seeing now? The negative part of the 60s that we didn't see when it was a love fest the first time?
Well, it really was a love fest in the beginning, and the intention was very pure. However, if you look at the hippies and what happened in the 60s, it went to an extreme. Don't trust anybody over 30.
Yeah.
And there was a definite vibration of meanness or of separation. Don't trust the establishment. Cops are pigs. Remember all that? That was part of the hippies. And so I think they took it to an extreme and really shut themselves off.
But when you look at the average age, when you looked at the average age of the hippies, they were over 30.
But remember the don't trust anyone over 30?
No.
That was really prevalent, and there was just a lot of energy. It was all about love and all of that, but it didn't integrate into society in a healthy manner.
Society wasn't ready for it.
Right. It was very segregated. It was off by itself. They had, San Francisco and, different places.
Yeah, Woodstock.
But it wasn't really a part of everything.
Yeah, but, when you look back in history and you see what was going on in the political world, you had the war in Vietnam. You had the government saying you have to go and fight. There's no two ways about it. You go fight or you go to jail. And if you don't want to go to jail, you ended up in Canada. You know what I mean? So, don't trust anybody over 30. Well, I can understand that looking back in history because most of the politicians were over 30 years of age and they were making the rules. And the pigs with the police, there were riots in the U.S.
There were a lot of riots. The music was big. There were assassinations. There was the war. There was a lot that went on in the 60s. The whole segregation.
Yep.
With the African Americans here, and there was a lot, and it was difficult then with Vietnam because there wasn't a collective patriotism in the United States like in World War II.
Yeah.
And Korea was kind of in between. That the Korean conflict, the Korean War, was sort of not really World War II, but not really. There was a definite enemy, and there was a collective patriotism.
Yeah, it was more or less a military action instead of a war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Vietnam just shifted all of that. And another thing that has really been shifting the world is the Internet.
Big time.
And of course, when you introduce anything, you're going to have both sides of it. You're going to have the positive and the negative sides of it. But having that 24/7 and being able to communicate is such a wonderful thing. But it can also be very, very dangerous too.
I can see that.
So
because,
we're taking it to a whole new level.
Yeah, the Internet is now being used for recruiting for terrorist groups. The Internet is being used as a method of communication that is encrypted to plan attacks of terrorism. I had a guest on the show many years ago, Pastor Harry Walther, and he said, Rob, the mark of the beast is not 666. The mark of the beast is WWW. Back then, I thought he was crazy. Today, I think that he was dead on.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, when we were talking about Vietnam, I saw this whole connection with the Internet.
Yep.
But the Internet didn't come in at that. I guess it did, didn't it? Maybe the 70s is when computers really started, but the 80s is when it really took off.
Yeah.
But it is making a big difference in... I see the difference in people's energy when they're on the computer all the time. It really affects people.
Sure it does.
It does. It's a fact. That's all. And it becomes an addiction, or it interferes with people's energy fields. Yep. It's not like going out to the river or going for a hike or being outside or being with your friends in the coffee house. It's very, very different vibration, and I could see why he would look at it that way. That's really interesting. Because, of course, negativity, or what he called the devil, can move through anything.
That is true.
Of course.
That
if
is
we
true.
allow it to, and it will. Well, and also, it's important, I think, to understand and remember that the universe works in contrast. If we don't have the positive and the negative charge to the battery in our car, it won't start.
That's right. That's because we live in a binary existence, which is 0 and 1. No matter how you look at it. And this can be shown throughout life as 0-1 binary computer language. But
it is computer
in
language.
the world of reality, or the world of illusion that we live in, depends on which way you want to look at it, we have a binary system as well. Up, down, in, out, right, left, good, evil, heaven, hell. So, it seems that we have been looking for this WWW for a long, long time, and something that people are afraid to mention is that, do you remember how people used to talk about the subliminal messages within the movies and television?
The advertising. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's happening with the internet as well.
Oh, of course it is.
But people don't want to look at it that way, because to so many people, the internet is the next best thing to God, and unfortunately, there are those who look at the internet as being God. You and I have to go to a commercial break with the news. We'll be back on the other side as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, with Sandy Athey. Her website is www.sandyathey.net, I should say. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you live and around the world on the XZBN. That's the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com.
From the International Desk at the Canadian News Network, I'm Rob McConnell. Defense Secretary Ash Carter is casting doubt on prospects for a military partnership with Russia to combat the Islamic State inside Syria. At a Pentagon news conference Monday,
Carter says the Russians are a long way from aligning their military focus with that of the United States. Carter says the Russians should be combating the Islamic State rather than the moderate opposition that must be part of a political transition that could end Syria's civil war. Secretary of State John Kerry has been talking to senior Russian officials about a proposal in which the U.S. would share intelligence and targeting information with the Russians. Hillary Clinton's campaign scrambled to extinguish a political firestorm over embarrassing hacked emails Monday, hoping a high-wattage lineup of speakers, including First Lady Michelle Obama and Liberal favorite Bernie Sanders, would overshadow party infighting on the Democratic Convention's opening night. Clinton escaped one politically ugly moment when the outgoing party chair, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, announced that she would not take the stage. The Florida Congresswoman was angrily heckled by her own home state delegation Monday morning, and Democratic officials feared a similar scene in front of a far bigger TV audience. Wasserman Schultz is leaving her post following the publication of thousands of emails suggesting the Democratic National Committee favored Clinton during her primary contest with Sanders, despite vowing to remain neutral. A Syrian man who tried unsuccessfully to claim asylum in Germany pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group and vowed the nation's people won't be able to sleep peacefully anymore in a cell phone video before blowing himself up outside a wine bar, wounding 15 people, authorities said Monday. The assailant set off a backpack laden with explosive and shrapnel Sunday night after being refused entry to a crowded music festival in the Bavarian city of Ansbach because he didn't have a ticket. It was the fourth attack to shake Germany in a week and the second claimed by the Islamic State group. Gunfire erupted at a nightclub hosting a swimsuit-themed party for teens in Florida, leaving 2 teens dead and at least 17 other people wounded, officials said Monday. It was not immediately clear what triggered the violence, but authorities said the shooting was not an act of terror. Police detained 3 people and were searching for others, Interim Police Chief Dennis Eade said. The slain teens were 14-year-old Sean Archilles and 18-year-old Stefan Strouder, police said. Archilles lived about a mile from the nightclub and loved to play football and basketball, said his father, Gene. He liked to make people laugh. Seeking a wider digital audience, Verizon is buying Yahoo for $4.83 billion in a deal that makes the end of an era for a company that defined much of the early internet, but struggled to stay relevant in an online world dominated by Google and Facebook. It's the second time in as many years that Verizon has snapped up remnants of a falling internet star. The nation's largest wireless carrier paid $4.4 billion for AOL last year. The two brands will be rolled into the same operation. We have an enormous respect for what Yahoo has accomplished. This transaction is about unleashing Yahoo's full potential, AOL CEO Tim Armstrong said in a statement. For 2 years and more, it has been a lost ship, metal container carrying 239 souls that simply disappeared one late Asian night, never to be seen again. And now the search for the remains of Malaysian airline Flight 370 will likely become a thing of memory too. With Friday's announcement that the meticulous ocean search for the missing jetliner will be suspended, in effect called off, one of the decade's most tantalizing unanswered questions is headed toward becoming, in effect, a cold case. I'm not surprised it's coming to an end without any answers, Tony Wong, a businessman in Kuala Lumpur, said on Monday. From the Canadian News Network in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, I'm Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. Sandy Athey is my very special guest, www.sandyathey.net. Sandy, are we all intuitive? And if we are, how come some, like yourself, are very in tune? You know, you've got such a wonderful reputation for being an intuitive. The work that you do, not only with people but animals, is known far and wide. So how can people listening tonight who are saying, well, geez, you know, I'm intuitive? How can they develop these skills?
Everybody's intuitive, Rob. Of course. We just have different names for it. They call it women's intuition or a hunch. Yeah. Everybody has that. And we sometimes forget that we are spiritual beings having a physical earth walk.
Yes.
You know, we're all very spiritual. We all dream. Mm-hmm. We all feel the wind. We all know that those things exist, but we forget them when we come to Earth. And some of us, it's like anything, whether it's a musician or a professional ball player, anything like that. If you have it, you have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody can get up and hold a bat and hit a baseball, but probably not as great as Babe Ruth. Or same thing with the piano. Everybody can sit there and play chopsticks, but maybe not be the Mozart. So it just depends. Everybody has it. Everybody gets that little instinct about things. They know to go left rather than right, or they get a feeling when the phone rings and they know who it is. We all have that. It was through the near-death experience that really amplified my gift. I really came back. I was told to come back, and that I would have this gift, and that I was to use it to help others, to help myself first, and then to learn about it and to help others. I was very directed that way, Rob, and I take that very seriously because it came from the top. You know,
sure.
It came from out there, and it's been a very interesting journey learning how to work with it. And I think we all have those challenges when we go against our gut, and we've all had those lessons in life, haven't you?
I certainly have.
I'm sure.
But tell me,
you know that it's there.
What was it like when you realized that the gift you had been amplified to the degree it has been? What was it like when you first realized that? Boom! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was really like a new world, because I can walk in both worlds now. I had to perfect that, and of course I'm always learning, and there are always things to learn. I think as we go through, our soul progresses, we're constantly learning.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to a point where I'm very comfortable. It's like driving a car. You get your permit, you learn how to drive, you get some experience. So now I have quite a bit of experience. But in the beginning, it was a little disconcerting. It was very challenging to me to understand how to stay in my body. That was my biggest challenge, because I love it out there. It's great out there. It's really fun being out of the body. So I had to learn how to balance those two things so I could effectively use the gift. And like driving a car, you have to change the oil, and you have to put gas in it, and all of those things, and you have to maintain the gift as well. And you have to hold it very carefully in the palm of your hand. You know, it's delicate. It's that beautiful piece of crystal that you have in the dining room. It's beautiful to look at. You take it out on holidays. You don't put it in the dishwasher. You know, it's delicate, but it's classic. It's strong because it does come from the universe. But it's something that really takes a lot of care and a lot of. I like to think I have a lot of integrity with the gift, using it in a way that feels right to me, using it for things that I'm directed to, and that direction comes from the Creator and Earth Mother with me. And the animals. I'm very into the earth medicine. That's where I feel most comfortable. But it's something that, you know, it's a great responsibility. I put it that way.
I would imagine that one of the greatest responsibilities that you hold is the heart, the trust, and the desires of people who seek out your gift.
Yes, it really is a responsibility, and I like to tickle everybody else's gift. I like to have clients that want to learn about themselves and how to develop their own gift, so that they can be happy, whole, balanced, and healthy, and contribute to the collective consciousness, because you do it one by one by one. And sure, it's great for me to give information to people, but I like that information to be something that will kind of intrigue them and inspire them to be the best that they can be and to embrace their own gift and run with it.
Have you seen a change in the people who are seeking you out for your gift? Are the questions changing, or is everything the same?
Wow, that's such a great question. Let me think about that, because I've been on the radio about 16, 17 years, taking questions, talking to people, having clients, and you know what? It really is the same.
Really?
Yeah, the times change, but people stay the same, don't they?
I don't know about that. What I've seen.
Really?
Yeah, what I've seen
Think people change?
Yeah, what I've seen on this side of the microphone, people are more in tune with what is going on. They are more in tune of their surroundings, and it's not like it used to be, where people used to walk around, and this is just my opinion, Sandy, walk around with those rose-colored glasses, where everything was so plain and so simple. And I would imagine the internet has a lot to do with the change that I've seen as well over the years. When I started this show 25 years ago, everything was about extraterrestrials. And then it changed to spirit. Then it changed to angels. And now it's back to extraterrestrials and the second coming.
See, it's all those cycles.
Yeah, it is.
Everything goes in cycles. Our days go in cycles. Our bodies go in cycles.
Yeah.
The earth goes in cycles. Sure. Oh, the fashion, of course, that goes in cycles. We can't forget that. So what's old is new again, but it's really the same, don't you think?
I do. Based at a core level, yes. But when I see the youth of today, they're breaking the cycle.
You think so?
Yep.
Do you think they are? Where they're awake is what we're talking about being awake, about being aware, rather than that 50s housewife. Have you ever seen those old commercials?
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
I've been watching some of the old the game shows. I've Got a Secret and To Tell the Truth from the 1950s.
Yep.
And you're right, it was very different. People were much more polite.
Yeah.
Or contained, is that the right word? Or
sure.
Something, and now it's very different. People are much more casual, and there's a lot more information that we have access to at a younger age. So I think people are a little bit more awake, but the questions that they have when they come to me are the same. How do I, about my health, or whether it be what's my career, or talk to me about my love life. Those questions, I think, as human beings, stay the same.
I would imagine that the love life is the number one question.
I do a lot of work with businesses as well. I'm trying to think of my number one questions. Definitely love life. And definitely a lot of financial questions now. A lot of corporations calling me, working with real estate agents. A lot of money questions going on now, Rob. And the love life is always there, of course. That's always fun to look at. That's always something that people crave. They want to find that special person. So that's always there. But now, watch the financial area, because things are going to start shifting, and people can feel this already. And with England, doing what England did, and there's shifts going on, and so that is a lot of the focus now is finances. I get a lot of questions about that.
Is there a connection between a person's psyche and a person's health?
Oh, definitely. Oh, direct correlation.
Really?
Direct. Oh, yes. I worked with a wonderful teacher named Thunder Bear, who was a Vietnam vet and also a Cherokee, Native American Cherokee. And he would work with me with my post-traumatic stress, and he would touch a place on my body and say, okay, what do you see? and I would see whatever it was, and we would release it, whether it be from this earth walk or a different earth walk. We hold every experience in our bodies. You cut yourself, you have a little scar, you can go back and say, oh, that's when I fell off my bike when I was 10 years old. There's always a memory in the body, and when you work the body, mind, spirit, emotions, and all of those areas, you can heal anything and everything, and you can work back through traumas, clearing the mental image and the emotional response to it, and your body will follow suit and become healthy and balanced. It's just physics.
Do you believe in past lives, reincarnation?
Well, some things are true whether I believe them or not. But I do believe, yes, I definitely believe that we are recycled.
I like that.
Well, everything is recycled. The rain comes in, it goes into the river, the clouds take it back. Everything is a cycle. We've been talking about that a lot tonight. So why wouldn't our souls be cycled?
Well, the reason I was asking you that, Sandy, is when people come back, do they bring luggage with them from the previous life? And how do we know that in the next life there's not more luggage that they drag with them? And how does this luggage affect their current life?
Well, I know this for sure. I know this from personal experience, that when I went to the other side, and when I popped out of my body, I knew I was dead when the pain stopped.
Yeah.
And I just knew I was. And it was the most amazingly wonderful experience. It was just great. And one thing that occurred to me, there were so many things that occurred in that split second, but one of them that was very prevalent was that I was exactly the same. I felt the same. My personality was the same. I was the same. So everything that I had done in all of my earth walks and in this one, up to that point, was going with me to the other side. So when I came back, everything that has happened since that evening in 1990, I won't have to go through any of that healing, because I will leave with what I have right now, or in 30 years, or whenever I leave Earth. We are given that physical earth walk as a gift to make the changes. If somebody walks around, Rob, and they drink too much, and they say, I'm going to quit drinking, I'm going to quit drinking. Sure, that's fine to say it. It doesn't really happen until you actually physically stop drinking.
Right.
It's a physical action that makes it real. And it's the same thing in our souls. If we're up in spirit and we say, I want to learn about compassion, or I want to learn about love, or whatever it is we want to learn, it doesn't make it real in our soul on that level until we become physical, experience it, learn the lesson, take it with us, and then we'll have another lesson.
Life is a learning lesson. We start learning the moment we're born, and I guess we can say we stop learning when we enter the cocoon that we call death and emerge on the other side.
I don't know. I think we learn different things over there, especially a lot of the work I do is as a medium. And I do have a wonderful connection with the other side.
Right.
And I'll often speak with people that have passed, or to help people pass, lots of comings and goings. Oh, babies coming in, one of my favorite things, speaking to the souls of the little babies. And it's all the same, Rob. It really is.
All right, stand by, Sandy. I've got to take my final break. Sorry about that, sweetie. Exonation.
No, I know.
Sandy Athey is our special guest. www.sandyathey.net, and we'll both be back as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right. Transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. My guest this hour is SANDI ATHEY. Her website is www.sandyathey.net. First of all, Sandy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Always a great pleasure talking to you, my friend, and thank you for all the wonderful work that you do, helping out so many people.
Well, thank you for the wonderful work you do. I was listening to the breaks and the commercials. You have some amazing people connected up to your network and your show, and thank you so much for everything that you do and the information that you put out there for people.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sandy, what are your final thoughts for the members of the X-Zone Nation listening tonight around the world?
Oh, everybody, everything's going to be okay. We are being given the opportunity to connect to love. We're being given the opportunity to make some different choices, and it's going to be a little hectic for a while, but just take a deep breath. Everything's going to work out just fine because the love is here. Connect to it. Be healthy, be happy, and have safe journeys.
What projects are you currently working on, Sandy? I know you're a busy lady.
Oh, thanks for asking. I have a new TV web series that's chronicling my life story, and it's called The SANDI Connection. So it's easy to remember. And there's also a website with that. It's The SANDI Connection. It's on YouTube. And the first episode aired in July. The next episode will be in August. and then I'll actually be doing a live show and taking callers in the fall. So it's very exciting.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
People want to contact you for a one-on-one consultation. Which is the best way to do it?
You know what? You can do it the old-fashioned way. You can actually call me on the phone, Rob, I will answer it. My office number is 410-747-6510, and that again is 410-747-6510. Or you can connect with me on all social media, Sandy ATHEY, or sandyathey.net, or the Sandy Connection.
It's that plain, it's that simple. And Sandy, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Always a great pleasure talking to you. Hey, I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone.
Yes, I'd like that very much, Rob. It's always a pleasure.
Take care, my dear friend.
All right. Safe journeys, and I'll talk to you soon.
You bet you will. Bye-bye, Sandy.
Bye-bye.
X Zone Nation, my guest this hour has been Sandy ATHEY. www.sandyathey.net, and that's SANDIATHEY.net. And if you'd like to contact her for a one-on-one consultation, the phone number is area code 410-747-6510. Now, I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Coming up next, Chris Black is going to be with us. We're going to be talking about the strange, the weird, the bizarre, the paranormal, and still to come in hour 3, my good friend Corey Kay is going to be joining us. And we're going to be talking about computers. We're also going to be talking about the allegations being made by the Clinton campaign that the Russians actually hacked into the DNC in order to cause chaos so that the people of the United States, when they go to the polls in November, will vote for Donald Trump. Fact, fiction, or hype? We'll find out as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away.